Tumeva mata cha pita tumeva bandhusya sakha tameva vidya dravinam tameva sarvam mama deva deva. O Lord, thou art my mother, thou art my father, thou art my friend, thou art my companion, thou art my wealth, thou art my learning, thou art my all in all, O Lord. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, 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 my Lord. Good evening, friends. We are very happy that tonight we have a guest speaker, Swami Kripamayananda, head of the Toronto Center, Canada. Swami is visiting us and we want to have his holy company. And we requested him, which was not in the bulletin, so we requested him to give an informal talk to our devotees, and he agreed. They drove from Toronto to here. It is our custom that whenever we find any visiting Swami, we want to get his wisdom and his holy company so that our devotees also can have association and can know various things from various monks. Tonight he will speak about sharanagati, surrender, self-surrender. Self-surrender is the last stage of the spiritual life. We see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gave all these lectures to Arjuna, karma, jnana, bhakti, and all those things. In the 18th chapters, toward the end, he says, Sarva dharman purityajya mamekam sharanang bhaja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami mahasucha. Give up all of your duties, all formalities. Take refuge in me. Mamekam sharanang bhaja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami. You are thinking that you will kill millions of people in this war. You will incur sin. Don't think like that. I shall protect you from all kinds of sin. Mashucha, do not grieve. That is the final message of the Bhagavad Gita. We find sharanagati. I shall tell you a small story. A deer was pregnant and was eating grass in a forest and very happy that I am going to be a mother. All of a sudden, the deer saw in front a hunter with an arrow and bow aiming at the deer. Scared. He was thinking, now I shall run away. I must protect my baby. He tried to go to the right side and found a trap. The hunter put a trap there and a dog. Now I can go. Then it looked at the back, that whether I can go with the back. He found that forest fire, some dry leaves are burning, fire. Well, I will be dead there. And the other side, he found a net. All four sides blocked. Death is inevitable. So the deer looked up, that one was open, and pray to the Lord, Lord, please save me and my child. Lord answered the jeer's prayer. All of a sudden came gusty wind, Kalvaishaki, northwester wind, heavily blown. It blew away the net. Then came rain. It stopped the fire. And the thunder hit the dog and killed the dog. And the wind was blowing the dust, and that blinded the hunter. And the deer escaped from that trap and saved its life. It is a story, folklore in India. We read all those stories. That's how sharanagati works. Sharanagati really works. So Swami will speak on that tonight. Please enjoy his holy company. Thank you.
Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amrutam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the Divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Good evening to you all, and so fantastic to see you again. Like last year also I came, and Maharaj graciously, Swami, Chetananji very graciously asked me to meet you all and talk to you. It has always been a grace, actually, sharanagati, surrender and the grace, they go together. And it's really, I feel it's a grace of God and very kindness of our Maharaj to give me this opportunity to speak in front of you in this August hall, where great speakers have spoken from Satprakashananji, Swami Chetananji, and all our monks here, they speak here, and so many guest monks. So, I just came to visit Swamiji, actually, to have the darshan, to do pranam. And I got opportunity with my dear friend Buddhadev Guha. He drove all the way from Toronto. And Swamiji said, will you like to give a talk? I'm not very fond of giving a talk. So, but meeting the devotees is a special occasion. Well, what you speak doesn't matter. Meeting you, seeing your bright face, and evening talking something about God, something about from the scriptures, it is always a fun, always a joy to be with the devotees. So I said, yes, Maharaj. In fact, Shivarchananji emailed me, would you like to give a talk? It's I generally give, and when you are coming, I'll be happy if you give a talk. So I'm actually snatching his time, and thanks to Shivarchananji also for giving me this opportunity. So I chose the topic to speak today is self-surrender. This term surrender, like retreat, has different connotation in the field of different fields of different battle or in the field of spirituality. In the field of battle, this surrender, retreat is a very negative word. It is a surrender is you are not able to fight, you are very weak, you are defeated, you have given up. And retreat is you are going back, very negative feeling. But in spirituality, it's very positive, as Maharaj just now told. In the Bhagavad Gita, after saying all the yogas, all the means, Sri Krishna says, have that surrender. And whom to surrender, he will say. And if you could surrender totally, you will have achieved the goal of life. You have achieved everything. All my teachings to you in 700 verses that I am going to give to you will be deemed successful if you could totally surrender. To whom to surrender? Surrender to me, says God. And that is so positive quality, So different from the common meaning of surrender, we say. In the battle or the battle of life, it may mean defeat. In spirituality, it is victory. It is conquering the lower self by the higher self. It is conquering ego by the divine. It is overcoming the weakness by the strength. That is meant by self-surrender or sharanagati. In the Bhagavad Gita, we find Arjuna refusing to fight his enemy at the battlefield, giving all sorts of reasons to Krishna. And after saying this, Krishna says, Arjuna, at this moment, when you are standing in between the two armies, always you came ready to fight. And what happened to you suddenly? That a brave person, a hero of the people who wanted to fight for justice, and now saying, I want to give up, I want to live on begging, I don't want to fight, and you sit down. How this stupidity come to you? That's what he said. How this stupidity comes to you? This faint-heartedness, this weakness to a victorious, brave person who never gave away or ran away from battle. That was, you cannot surrender, he says, in the battlefield. But you have to, and at the end of the chapter, in the second chapter says, you should fight for justice. And at the 18th chapter said, you should surrender to me. That's what the surrender means. Surrendering to God is conquering our own ego. And surrendering to someone difficult situations or difficult circumstances and not trying to resolve that, fight that, overcome that is definitely a weakness. But surrendering to God, surrendering to higher self, that is definitely a victory. Sri Krishna, finally, when Sri Krishna said to Arjuna that you are faint-hearted, you are talking like a stupid, Sri Krishna, then Arjuna still gave the reason why he should not fight in second chapter beginning. After admonishment of Sri Krishna, that was Arjuna's condition. His intellect was clouded. He forgot what he had learned. He forgot his own dharma, that he had to protect the justice. And he said, finally, after listening that, he says, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava prichhami dharma sammuda cheta. My idea about what to do and what not to do is clouded, sammuda. My intellect is clouded. I'm not able to decide what is right and what is wrong. What should I do? I have become, I feel so weakness. Karpanya dosho. Then he says to Sri Krishna, Shishyasteham, I am your disciple. Shadi, please teach me. Tvam prapannam, I surrender to you. Please teach me, please guide me. What should I do? Whatever you would say, that I am ready to say, because my intellect is clouded, my thoughts are just lost, and whatever is good for me, please say that to me. Instruct that to me. I am ready to follow you. That is called surrender. Now he is ready to follow the instruction of Krishna. Then Sri Krishna starts his teaching of the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter and goes on saying what is life, what is Atma, what is the duty, how one should live in the world without attachment. He gives all the teaching to Arjuna. And as they say, Arjuna was just an agent, just an instrument. He didn't give Arjuna the teaching. He wanted to give that all the teachings of the Gita to us. And Arjuna was just a means. In one of the verses, very nicely it is said, Partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdam gita amritam mahat. You know, how is the Gita is like figured? Like it's like there is a cow of Upanishad. Upanishad is the cow, and Krishna is the milkman who will milk the cow. And to induce the cow to give milk, you need a calf. That was our original system. The calf will induce the cow to give milk. And with that calf, that is Arjuna, Partho Vatsa. And then who will milk the cow? It is Krishna milks the cow. But for whom? Generally what they do, cow is induced to give milk and it is left aside, it is pulled aside, and then milk is milked, and then milk is sold to the people who drink it. And who is the drinker of the milk here? It is the Sudhir Bhokta, the wise person, the person really who want to benefit from the message of the Bhagavad Gita and want to nourish themselves, spiritually nourish themselves. For them is the milk being milked with the help of this Arjuna by Krishna. So that is Krishna's teaching. So Arjuna says, I am confused about my duty and I am besieged with anxiety and faint-heartedness. Please instruct me for certain what is best for me. I am your disciple and have surrendered to you. Without surrender, very difficult to get. Now, whom to surrender? If you surrender to your enemy, you are the worst person. You have failed your duty. You should. That's what here Sri Krishna had said to Arjuna. Fight, dying in battle, one goes to heaven if one dies. And if he conquers, he enjoys the victory. But you say, I don't want to fight. That is not the case. To whom to surrender? Spiritual surrender. So, in the Bible it is said, Jesus said, Mark 10:21, the Gospel of Mark, Jesus says, sell everything you have, give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then follow me. That is surrender. First, you be detached from all your bindings and attachment and your sense of responsibility, and then you have to then give up everything and dissociate from that and then follow me. Now, how this teaching for, he said, of course, to his disciples who would really give up everything, renounce the world, and follow Jesus. But how does this teaching relevant to many of us who have a family, who have a duty, who have a job? What should they renounce? And how to follow Jesus? What they should renounce is the attachment, sense of I. It belongs to me, and that is the sense of ego. That is to be renounced. And if we could renounce the sense of ego and I and mine, then naturally the mind will go towards God. The natural tendency of our mind, purified mind, is going towards God. Because we are all divine, we are all spirit, and spirit has connection with the spirit. In the middle, this ego, desires, this false identification, they just become impediment in our journey from the self to the supreme self. That's what Jesus said. Now in John, book of John, it's said, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. That is to whom we need to surrender. Who is the supreme, who can take our care, who will give us the best that we seek in our life. To that person whom we trust, to him we should surrender. What is the motto of the United States of America? In God we trust. We trust in God because He is supreme. He will do only good to us. If we take refuge in Him, then there will be only good to us. It will all benefit us. In the Gita, it is said, Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. Fly unto Him alone for refuge. With your whole being, Arjuna, through His grace you shall attain supreme peace and eternal abode. That is the promise of surrender. You give up all your ego and you surrender to that being who is the whole sum, who is God, and then you shall attain supreme peace and eternal abode. After reaching Him, nothing else to gain. After gaining Him, nothing else remains to achieve. Who is that He? In the Gita, it is said, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Surit Prabhava Pralaya Sthanam Nidhanam Bijam Abhyam. Sri Krishna describes who is God. Who is actually God? He said, identifying himself to the Supreme Being. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not just a personality, he is the Supreme God that has identified with the God. That's why he is called Yogeshwara Krishna, the Lord of Yoga, the Krishna who is united with the Supreme Being, with Paramatma. He is not an individualized avatara only, the avatara who is in the highest state of mind, who has found oneness with the Supreme Being. And there he says his real nature, I am the supreme goal of all beings, Gati. I am their sustainer, master, witness, abode, shelter and friend. I am the origin, end and resting place of creation. I am the repository and eternal seed. Why he calls himself seed? Because from God this creation comes. He is the seed. And he is the end. All that merges in God when there is pralaya. So from God we come and God we merge. In Upanishad it is said, from bliss we come and in bliss we merge. And where do we stay? In bliss we stayed. That is said. Anandena imani bhutani jayante, anandena jatani jivanti, anandam yat prayanti avisham vishanti, tad vijigyasasva, tad brahmeti. Know that blissful state from which we come, in which we live and in which we return back. That is the supreme reality that is called Brahman. We, in fact, live in that bliss. We live in God. But by this ego, ignorance, darkness, we are not able to find that bliss where we are. Though we are in the bliss, but we have forgotten ourselves, we have forgotten where we are, and then we suffer a lot for minor things, and we deviated from the thought of God because of our lack of sharanagati and our strong egotism, strong sense of I and mine. We have been deviated from the blissful state of our existence and always are scared. What will happen tomorrow? What will happen after a few years? Which I shall die, or what will happen if cancer happens, if heart attack happens, whether I will die in sleeping state or after suffering a lot. Worthless thing we think. Vedanta says all those are worthless. You don't die. You are the Atman. You are the spirit. You are not this body. Body, just by ignorance you think you are body. Try to regain your original state. Apnoti swarajyam. You have a great kingdom. You have forgotten who you are. And you consider the great king you are, you consider a beggar and asking for a morsel of food from here and there. Whereas you are in reality, you are that king. And by the practice of spirituality, regain your lost kingdom. How did it lost? Because of the ego, because of making yourself small, thinking yourself helpless, thinking yourself as this material body and these senses and the mind. These are all nothing of your. They are the instruments given to you so that you can realize your true nature. Instead of utilizing them properly, you have been caught into them, got attached to this world and live fleeting pleasures of this world, and you have lost your kingdom. Kingdom of heaven is within you. God is within you. Every religion says the same thing. Now, how to get that? That is the thing. Sri Ramakrishna said, just contemplate. Think of this place. Sri Ramakrishna used to say himself as this place. He didn't say I. Think of me. He never said I and me was not in his vocabulary. This place. So much of ego he had conquered. No ego. Think of this place and nothing else need to be done. Whatever spiritual practices you need to do shall be got done through you at the right time. You will have to do spiritual practice, but you think of me, you resign to me, I take your care, and I will make you do what you need to do. Sri Krishna said same thing to Arjuna. Arjuna, you think you will be beaten by the enemy? You will lose in the battle? Are you afraid? Don't worry. I am there with you, the Lord of Yogas, the most powerful being, and be my instrument. Nimitta matram bhavasab vesachin. I will do everything for you. When you become instrument in my hand, I will be fighting through you. People will say Arjuna is fighting, but instead Krishna is fighting. Then how can there be defeat when God is fighting? So only be instrument. Sri Ramakrishna said the same thing. Take refuge in me, think of me, and surrender to yourself, your ego to me, and I will see that you reach the ultimate of human life. And if any spiritual practice is to be done, I will see that you do it. I will make you do whenever it is needed. Self-surrender in Sanskrit is called sharanagati or prapatti. Beautiful word, prapatti. Ramanujacharya says this word, prapatti, is so nice. You give sharanagati is so beautiful. There cannot be no other beautiful word. Sharanagati or prapatti means complete self-abnegation, total dedication of oneself to the chosen ideal, and thus finding refuge or shelter, protection or abode, a place of rest. That is God. What Jesus said, come to me, all who are come unto me that are weary and heavily laden, I will give you rest. That is God. There we want to take refuge, not in any other thing, where there is the ultimate of our life. Swami Chaitanandaji Maharaj just told the final verse of the Gita according to Ramanujacharya, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Braja. Don't worry for formalities or other your duties. Take refuge in me. And only in me, Mam Ekam Saranam Braja. Sri Krishna says, take refuge in me. Jesus said, come unto me. We are confused whom to take refuge in, Jesus or Sri Krishna. Actually, both are same. There is no difference between Krishna and Jesus, and Ramakrishna and Chaitanya, Shiva and Durga, Allah and Omkar. All are same being in different names and different forms. Any being can be your chosen ideal and take refuge in any one of them. You are taking refuge in the Supreme God, Supreme Reality, Supreme Brahman. That Brahman appears as all this. We need to catch hold on of one and take refuge in that. Abandoning all duties, take refuge in me alone. Alone, that me is God. I shall liberate you from all evils. Do not grieve. But how to surrender? Now surrendering is we understand, if we could really truly surrender, then there is all blessing to us, unto us. How to surrender? Once Swami Shivananda, Mahapurush Maharaj, tells us that the mental calmness, that is controlled mind, is essential for a successful meditation. Even knowing this and even being graced by Sri Ramakrishna, still one succumbs to human frailty and a heart that cries out. So we have to have that power by which mind is purified. And when mind is purified, what is purified mind? That is one-pointed, that is under control, controlled mind, and the mind which we can guide according to our will. Mind doesn't guide us, but we can ask mind, now think of God, now do japam, now do this, and mind will listen to what we say. Because mind has become one-pointed by its spiritual practice. It has come under our control. When it is not controlled, mind starts controlling us. Mind will say, go there, now get worried, now don't sleep, you think of what has happened today. Mind is dictating us, and we cannot sleep, we cannot work, we cannot find joy. You try to meditate, mind distracts. It goes here and there because it is not our control, under our control. So, controlled mind is purified mind. Purified, when mind is controlled, then you can tell mind whatever you want, and mind follows you, obeys you, it becomes your friend, it becomes your servant. Otherwise, mind becomes master and it starts guiding and it starts making you do the thing. Who is that you? That you is your either the eye sense or your intellect goes under that mind, this flickering thing, that one vacillating thing. Then devotee says, Maharaj, surrender seems to be impossible. Surrender is giving up your ego. It is impossible. Mahapurush Maharaj says, yes, complete surrender is very difficult in the beginning for most seekers. It is very rare to find great souls like Swami Brahmananda, Swami Ramakrishnananda, Swami Adbhutananda, Girish Ghosh and Nag Mahasaya. Although their past karmas indeed play a role for total surrender, but partial surrender is certainly possible for all. In the course of time, that will lead to complete surrender. By the grace of the Master, well, if surrender is impossible, what can be done? There is no peace of mind. You are helpless to bring it about. It can be done only by surrender. From the physical sensation of sight, hearing, smell, taste and touch, and from the object of sense pleasures, forsake all duties towards them. Be a yogi by uniting yourself to my blessed presence, says Krishna. Mam ekam saranam, in your soul. Then I will protect you by non-performance of the lesser duties you remain devoted to me, fulfilling all unselfish duties as directed by me. Forsaking all ego instigated duties, you will be liberated. That Mam Ekam Saranam Braja. At one place they say Braja. What is Braja? Come, go to the people. And also it means fly, hurry. Like an arrow flies to its object. That without, how does arrow fly? That's very beautiful example of arrow given in our Upanishads. It says, Pranavo dhanu sharo hyatma brahma tal laksha muchyate. Apramattena vedhavyam saravat tanmayo bhavet. Be like an arrow. What is done? What arrow? And shoot that arrow with the help of pranava, with Om. And shoot it to the target. What is the target? Brahman. God is the target. And without any distraction, apramatta, throw that arrow. And that arrow flies and goes to the target. It's Brahman. Arrow is Atma, yourself, your ego. And send it to the Brahman, to God. And let it fly to God. And after reaching God, what happens? Saravat tanmayo bhavet. That Shara, the arrow, becomes one with its object. It hits the object and becomes one with the object. How the arrow example is given in Braja? Because arrow, when it is shot from the bow, it doesn't divert anywhere. It goes straight, flies fast and goes straight to the object of its object, where it has to go. So that's why the example of arrow given, and Braja often said, fly without any distraction. The ordinary man's mind usually identified with external possessions and sense pleasures connected with the physical body. Therefore, physical consciousness is sustained by the mind, intelligence, and the life force operating through the lower centers of awareness. Thus, the searchlights of intelligence, mind, and life energy continually operate externally, feeding the mind and the senses. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that it is the nature of the mind to wander. One must bring one's thoughts to bear on God. By long practice, the mind is controlled and made steady. Now let's focus on what are some of the practical steps a spiritual aspirant can take in his or her daily life in order to grow spiritually. At the onset, we must always remind ourselves that the ideas of surrender to the divine doesn't end our engagement to the world. Rather, it uplifts and enriches it. The idea of sharanagati doesn't imply a subjugated, cloistered, or monastic life. Rather, it is dynamic, reciprocal, and fulfilling. As per his own experiences, Swami Vivekananda emphatically states that we must be bright and cheerful. Long faces do not make religion. Religion is the most joyful thing in the world because it is the best. That's what is about religion, about spirituality. It has to give us cheerfulness and joy, otherwise it is not religion. If we are all worried and think that I am not able to progress, I am not able to control, then there will be no control. Sri Ramakrishna always said, if you go on repeating, I am weak, I am helpless, I am sinner, you become helpless, you become sinner. Don't say that. Rather say, I am a child of divine. I am strong, I am a spirit, all divine power is within me. Why? I have repeated God's name, I think of God, I don't do any bad thing, I don't cheat others, I don't tell lie. God is pleased with me through my character. So why should I be a sinner? I am a children of immortal bliss. When we have that sort of self-confidence by growing the character, then there is positive attitude. And in surrender, there needs to be positive attitude. There it is said that there are 6 qualities for surrender. Having true surrender, you need 6 steps to follow. What are the 6 steps? It's one beautiful verse is there from Hari Bhakti Vilasa. It says, Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam रक्षति इति विश्वासो गोप्तृत्वे वरणम तथा आत्मनिक्षेप कार्पण्ये षड्विधा sharanagati. Sharanagati needs 6 steps are there. The first of the 6 steps is anukulasya sankalpa, that thinking of what is auspicious, what is favorable, all positive thoughts, no negative thoughts. So first is all positive thought. It is a natural tendency of the mind to worry, fear, and be anxious because of the uncertainty of the future. An untrained mind tends to be pessimistic, looking at the gloomy side of life. But a spiritual seeker cultivates a divine self-image, that he is a spark of the divine fire, which is God. He believes that with the strength of God within, he can surmount obstacles in spiritual practice. He asserts that his true nature is pure. Since he is part of God, who is the greatest purifier? Says Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, even if you are the worst among sinners, by the raft of knowledge alone you will get over your sinful tendencies. And there is nothing more purifying than knowledge of God. So we become so pure by the knowledge of God. Sri Ramakrishna explains the importance of the right attitude while doing our spiritual practice. One should have such burning faith in God that one can say, what? I have repeated the name of God, and can sin still cling to me? How can I be a sinner anymore? How can I be in bondage anymore? He discourages spiritual seekers from dwelling on their undesirable past, but encourages them to dwell in the present with faith in the divine name. He says, if a man repeats the name of God, his body, mind, and everything becomes pure. Why should one talk only about the sin and hell and such things? Say but once, O Lord, I have undoubtedly done wicked things, but I won't repeat them, and have faith in his name. Faith in his name implies faith in its power to purify our mind and transform our character. That's how the name of God is powerful. Name Rama, Jesus, Krishna, Ramakrishna, any name of God is so powerful to purify our mind and gain control over our mind. We can get control over our mind, and with our mind getting under control and spiritual quality being developed in us, we start showing all the spiritual unfoldment in us. We become less worried for the things, less worried for the future, and more joyful, more cheerful, and can handle the adverse situation, little insult, little criticism, little unacceptance of what we say. All that can be easily done if we are pure-minded. So strong we become that we don't get worried for what people say about me, because all people can say whatever they like, but I am a child of God. It doesn't matter how people judge me. There will be some people who will criticize me, but there are others who really accept me. So it is all, the world is that way. It is made, it is a mixture of all, some liking, some not liking, and you accept both. That strong we become when you become spiritual. And when you are strong, then there is joy, there is cheerfulness, there is spiritual unfoldment in us. The second part of the quality for to become spiritual is pratikulasya varjanam, not thinking of what is inauspicious. Don't think of what is done, no guilt feeling. So that is the second part. First was thinking of positivity, thinking of auspiciousness, and second is avoiding negative thought is as important for a devotee as thinking positive thoughts. Despite facing adverse circumstances, a devotee does not feel weak but strong in the strength of God. Who he knows abides in him, nor does he doubt his capacity to be steadfast in his spiritual practices. Sri Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita, one should uplift oneself by oneself. One should not belittle oneself. Uddhared atmana atmanam. We have the power to uplift ourselves by ourselves. So much of strength is there. Only which self will uplift us? The self that is connected to the higher self. The self that has taken refuge in the higher self. The self that has got something close proximity with God. That self can raise our lower self. Swami Vivekananda's inspiring words from his paper on Hinduism at the Chicago Parliament of Religions, given in 1893, are a great antidote to negative thoughts. You are the children of God, the sharers of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings, ye divinities on earth, sinners? It is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing libel on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are sheep. You are souls, immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. Ye are not matter, ye are not bodies. Matter is your servant, not you the servant of matter. What inspiring words Swamiji is saying, giving to us. His words provide inspiration for diligent struggle in spite of failures. Never mind the struggles, says Swamiji. The mistakes. I have never heard a cow tell a lie, but it is only a cow, never a man. So never mind these failures, these little backslidings. Hold to the ideal 1,000 times. And if you fail 1,000 times, make the attempt once more. That is Swami Vivekananda's advice to us in trying to ourselves progress in our spiritual field and the field of whatever we think we want to achieve. He was never tired of emphasizing that weakness cannot be a cure for weakness, but strength. He said, strength is life, weakness is death. Strength is felicity, the eternal, immortal. Weakness is constant strain and misery. Weakness is death. This strength comes from sharanagati, from prapatti, from connecting to God, from total taking refuge in that abode. And that strength, that this storehouse of all strength and bliss, you just get connected and that strength, bliss, goodness all starts coming to us and flowing through us. That is the power of God's, and that is the power of sharanagati. And this is pratikulasya varjanam, not thinking of what is inauspiciousness. What is the third quality that we have to have for sharanagati? Rakshati iti vishwasa, faith in God's saving power. whom we take refuge, whom we do surrender ourselves to God, who is the greatest savior. So there is no qualification required for sharanagati, as the famous elephant Gajendra at first wrestled with ahamkara when battling a crocodile that was trying to pull it inside. It says about the story of an elephant, powerful, biggest land animal, caught by a small, comparatively very small alligator in a water pool. And it was struggling to save itself. He thought, alligator is small, I am so big, I am so powerful, I can pull my leg from the mouth of the alligator. He was trying to pull, and the alligator in the water is so powerful, this elephant didn't have any idea. It's Gajendra, king of the elephant. Very noble, devoted and all that. He tried with his ego all way to save himself, but could not. He found him going and going. Finally, it took refuge in God. There is one protector. God is there. God said He always protects His devotees. Why I am just weak and think that it all is gone? Let me pray to God. As Swamiji was saying, the deer story, this is the story of Gajendra Moksha, they call. Beautiful prayer, this prayer of elephant, king of elephant to God is wonderfully described in the scripture. It's called Gajendra Moksha. The total surrender. Lord, I am now helpless. Please protect me. That's what he said. And once surrendered to God, then God rushes to save the elephant. So this story we see again and again in our mythologies, and that becomes so true in our own life. Many times it happens when we are unable to find the way, find the path, and there comes help unexpectedly. Sometimes faith can do so much. In the Gospel, you have all read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. There is a story of one person trying to find the medicine. Son was very sick, and some medicine has to be made. And what are the conditions? Very sick, is going to die. But is there no way? There is only one way, but very, very difficult to get. If only God's grace, you can get that. How to get the medicine? Oh, medicine is will be got if there is a certain star, a constellation called Swati, and there is to be rain on that constellation, and the rain has to fall in a human skull. And in that little rain is collected, that special time, the rain, cloud, human skull, and in that rain there should be the poison of cobra. And from that I will prepare medicine and your son will be cured. Now so many things, how to, all will come true. And suddenly he saw this constellation and he saw, yeah, Swati Nakshatra is there now. And he says, Lord, please, cloud and rain, I want rain. And there was cloud came. Now he came out, where to find the human skull. And some human skull is not found. And he was roaming here and there frantically. Lord, now it is Swati Nakshatra, it is cloud, it's also started raining. Now where to find? Suddenly he found thrown one human skull. Oh Lord, human skull is already there. Now please make that, I get the cobra poison. How will cobra will give the poison in that skull? So suddenly what happened? One frog, one snake was there, and one frog came. And now he said, Lord, frog has come now. I just need a drop of poison in that skull, that water collected in that skull. He was praying to God. Impossible also happen. Miracle happens. If we have taken refuge in God, if God wants, what may not happen? Anything can happen. And then suddenly that frog came near the skull where water was collected, and it jumped over the, then the snake started chasing, and frog jumped over the skull. And when frog was chasing, it thought it will catch the frog, but the frog jumped, and the poison from the cobra, it fell on the water collected in the skull. The person started dancing, having the gratitude God, and took that and went to that, whatever that indigenous medicine maker, and this, I have got everything by God's grace, because I surrendered to God, and God gave this. Miracles happen. Sri Ramakrishna says this story. What is there impossible for God? God can do anything. So, God can save. But yes, for God to save, But person had to go outside, search for such thing, had to pray. They had to do lot of work. Then when lot of action is done, only then the grace comes. They say you have to tire the wings. A bird was sitting on a ship, and he was unmindful, and ship sailed into the ocean. And after that, when he came where he is, he then tried to go to the place, land, and he flies to the east, all water, west, all water, everywhere water going. Then after that, he sat quietly and surrendered to God. Lord, protect me, I don't know where I go, how will I get food? Just he was holding on to that mast of the ship. And there, after tiring the wings, only the sharanagati or prapatti or taking refuge came. We have to work hard. Only sharanagati comes, otherwise sharanagati doesn't come. The fourth one in the sharanagati is goptritve varanam tatha, always preferring God's protection. God, you take refuge in God. But in everything you may forget God. So you have your own ego, I think I will save, but everything you will try to feel that God is the real protector. Sri Ramakrishna's imagery of the monkey using a bit of self-effort to cling on to its mother. Two types of sharanagati is said in the gospel. One is the monkey sharanagati, monkey surrender, and another is the kitten surrender. And monkey surrender and kitten surrender, monkey baby. It holds on to mother. And wherever mother goes, it goes with mother. So it has taken refuge in mother. But it is holding on to mother with its strength. So that is monkey sharanagati. And if by chance it may fall down, mother is jumping, some strange situation, it may fall down. So when you have through your strength want to hold on to God, you may slip. But there is another sharanagati that's called kitten sharanagati. I don't know anything. God, you know. Do just what is right for me. Make me do it. In kitten sharanagati, the kitten just says meow, meow, he says mew, mew, it says, and mother sometimes takes it, puts in the master's bed, sometimes in ash, sometimes in the ground. Wherever mother keeps, kitten is happy. No complaint, nothing there. Fully assured in the protective power of mother. That sort of sharanagati or surrender, fully assured in the power of God, for that he will do everything or anything that is to be done, he will do for my good. That is called kitten sharanagati, kitten surrender. So, that is the always preferring God's protection. God will help me. I don't have to fear. If one is so much dependent on God, how much strength comes to that person? Why that person will be afraid of anything? But that sharanagati is not fulfilling our wishes though. I want to be healthy, I want to live for 100 years, God will make me live 100 years. God will make me have no disease at all. No, not that. That is not sharanagati. That is trying to fulfill my desires with the help of God. No surrender. That is ego boosting. God is an agent to fulfill my wishes. But what happens in the real surrender to God? Goptritve varanam tatha. I know you. Whatever you do, that I accept. And you don't worry for anything. You become free from all worries. Can you imagine the peace of mind when you're free from all worries and anxieties? Total surrender to God. Whatever happens, how long will I live? I don't know, God knows. What will happen? Will you, is there any probability that cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer? I don't know, God knows. Whatever God wills, let it be done. If we can accept and invoke God's wish as the supreme, along with our idea of who I am, really I am that spirit divine, and this body is just an instrument going through all the changes. If we can combine this bhakti of surrender and awareness of true self, then you are invincible. You cannot be made afraid by anything in the world. You are all powerful, all joyful in all circumstances, and you accept the changes of the body. And you know this life in this human life is short. It's for the time being that we are born here. Nobody has come here to live forever. story of immortal people or in the mythology is there. But we live for the time being, then we die. So we accept death of the body, knowing fully that we in reality, my core being, my soul, my spirit does not die. It is immortal, it is uncreated, it is unborn. If we have that idea, even at the moment of death, then we smile. Body is dying, people are crying, and you make your body smile. How is this person so much suffering? Death is near, and he has no worries or fear of death. Where does he get this strength? How can she become so strong? Just because the awareness of Atman or the self. The fifth one is Atma Nikshepa. What is Atma Nikshepa? Offering oneself to God in full faith and trust. So that is the Atma Nikshepa in Sharanagati. You put yourself fully to God. Like a baby, we also have Sharanagati. Even as our child, we were totally dependent on God. In Sharanagati, Atma Nikshepa is total dependence on God and total freedom from the world. Go together. When we are totally dependent on God and God alone, we become totally free from the world. Like we were when we were babies. We totally surrender ourselves to Mother. Mother knew what is best for us. We didn't have any of our wish. Whenever we were hungry, we just cried out. And Mother came from somewhere, she will give food. We are free from all worries. We felt tired and sleepy, we slept. But we had no anxiety for anything. We were sure Mother is there. But when we grow, that faith in Mother, the Divine Mother, loosens. Some ego comes up, and all the problem with that ego comes. I have to save, I have to provide myself. What will happen? But everything that I think I provide is all provided by God. We study, we get a job, we get a paycheck. All is done by the will of God, everything. You get good marks, you are admitted in a good university, you get a good rank, get a good job. All is done by God's will. If we remember that, where is ego? Where is pride? All that will be melted in the surrender to the will of God. And the person with all success, achievement, if that person has humility, what a beautiful combination it becomes. No arrogance, no pride, but humble and yet wonderful person, mixing all, loving all, behaving well with all, and yet great in his thing. How that humility will come? By knowing that God is the real giver. I just put whatever He makes me do. Just put that and God gives that. The sixth one is Karpanya. What is the Karpanya? Karpanya is feeling helpless, humble, and complete surrender that is needed. Helpless in the sense, I myself have no power, but with God's power I can achieve anything. So whatever I have achieved is by the power of God, not by my own power. And when I say I cannot do by myself, then Karpanya, helplessness for yourself. You become an instrument. Nimitta matram bhava sabya sachim. That time is the one when Sri Krishna said to Arjuna, Arjuna, be just an instrument in my hand, and I will do whatever you have to do. So don't worry. So I will take every care. That happens. Nimitta matram bhava sabya sachim. The devotee finds all worldly supports frail and inadequate. He turns to God out of sheer helplessness with the world. Feeling helpless is not a low tamasic quality, but a spiritual virtue for him. It is not weakness, but implies that he prefers turning to the spirit to relying on matter. Swami Saradananda, another of Sri Ramakrishna's monastic disciple, describes the qualities of such a devotee. Whatever may be the circumstances, good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, he does not care. He is happy. He does not grumble. He never stops repeating the name of Mother and looking up to her for consolation and consideration. Swami Saradananda's story we know. He was once crossing the Ganga by boat. And Ganga is not too wide, not like our great lakes. But suddenly what happened, the boat came in the middle of Ganga and very strong storm arose. And boat started rocking. There were other people on the boat. One of them was a devotee who was very close to Swami Sharadananda. And Swami Sharadananda was relaxed and living, and the boat was rocking. Everyone was afraid it may sink, it may turn upside down and sink. And that his friend was also very frantic. And he saw this Swami is so peaceful, calm, as if nothing has happened, sitting quietly. And he becomes so angry on the quietness and calmness of this Swami. And he went to him and, what is this? We are all afraid and dying. Now we may die any moment, and you have no problem of this death and life. What is that you are? Swami Sharadananda was so different because he had total surrender and faith in the power of Sri Ramakrishna. He knew Sri Ramakrishna does for him anything. Life or death, it is in the hand of God. So why should I worry? If there is death to come, boat will turn upside down, and if we don't know swimming, we will die. What is there to worry? If he saves, we will be saved. Nothing. He had such a calmness in that face of danger. Total surrender and full can give you such a strength even in such difficult times. So I will close to this talk. It's already 1 hour with the beautiful prayer from the Upanishad. It says, Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedangsa Prahinoti Tasmai Tam Hadevam Atma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadde. He who in the beginning created Brahma and delivered the Vedas unto him, in that divine supreme being do I, the seeker of liberation, take refuge. I seek liberation from ignorance, but I have to take refuge. Even the Jnani has to take sharanagati, take the refuge in that supreme being who had created the creator of this world. Brahma is the creator. And the supreme being is beyond beyond this creator God, the Brahma. And I take refuge in that supreme being because I seek liberation, I seek freedom, I seek mukti, mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadde. So this sharanagati, surrender, is not needed only for those who love God, who are a path of devotion, but even for those who are path of jnana, who want illumination, who want freedom from ignorance. To them also Sharanagati is needed. Sharanagati to what? When Buddha, last time, a few days ago, last week was Buddha's talk on Buddha from Swami Chaitanandaji. When Buddha sat for final illumination, what he said, maybe this bone and muscles will go and become powder. But I will not get up from this seat. I will realize the truth tonight. I will not get up without realizing, without getting nirvana, without attaining bodhi, without having that knowledge which will remove all suffering of whole mankind. I want that knowledge. What did he do? He took refuge with a strong resolve. Refuge in the resolve. That is also Sharanagati, that I will attain God. That is the surrender to the resolve that I will not get up. So Sharanagati can be seen in the Jnanis, in the spiritual practitioner, in the Bhaktas, it is always said. And that Sharanagati, one-pointed devotion to the ideal. Sharanagati means one-pointed devotion to the ideal. When that is done, success is sure. Thank you.
Pranam Maharaj, thank you very much for this insightful discourse. And when we requested Maharaj, we sent an email actually. So I was thinking after this long journey, it would be difficult to give such a lecture. But as a young brother, sometimes we do we have a right to disturb him. So we use that right. And Maharaj, thank you very much. Please come again. And I want to thank all of you for your presence and your attentiveness, your eagerness to learn. Thank you very much. And Maharaj, please come again and again. Namaskar.